What's up, guys? Thank you for clicking on the video. So in this one, I'm going to directly address what people have been asking. A few people, 10 people, I don't know how many people. They wanted to know exactly what this setup was, and so that's what this video is going to be about. Where did I get these Volk TE37s? Did I special order them? Because there's a guy in C5 Modified, king of the streets, you know, he's just top of the hill, top of the chain, that guy is, with the black CCWs on the L5s, very original. So he wanted to point out that I did not special order, and I am full of you know what. So okay, buddy. So that's what this video is going to be about, and we're going to talk about this, how to get these so that I can make the wide body fenders and things that I'm going to be making here on KnightDriveTV. I always wanted to build fast cars, so self-taught I started with engine swaps, composites in my apartment, to multiple shops, tuning, fabrication, and more. 10 years later, the big time, SEMA, Speed TV, I climbed from nothing, but I lost it all. This is my new ride, KnightDriveTV.
Night drivers and drivettes.
Okay, so here we are. As you can see, they are on the car. 2011 I bought this car. I've had Volk TE37s before. I was in imports in the 1998 to 2010 range. Volk Racing, Ray's Engineering, if you've never heard of them. In Japan, they have one of the strongest forging presses, I believe, in Japan. I believe they do have the strongest, and so they have some very proprietary technology they put into these. They've supplied wheels for pretty much every form of racing, Formula One included. So a lot of Japanese, basically car enthusiasts in Japan that has a huge scene. They're all about the Volk TE37s. Problem with that is they make these mostly to fit Japanese type of vehicles, and the Corvette doesn't have an offset that really kind of works with what was available in Japan, especially through the 90s, 2000s. Some things started to get close, but nothing really had the offset even. So they did do a short run in, I think, 05. You generally have to buy about 100 sets of these to get them to make you kind of a set that's close to what you want. Even then, there's limitations as far as I understand, but somebody basically did that in 04, 05, and so there are TE37s on Corvettes, C5s and C6s, mainly C5s, but they're very traditional. They're like the OG style, which is a very flat face, spokes very much aligned with the outer rim here, so the concavity, step lips, a lot of the variations, obviously with computer technology, and they kept evolving the design. That's where you've gotten more concavity and things. So these are they're called Phase 5. These are the deepest concave you can get and maintain the strength and structure in this particular size. Now you can go with step lip and things like that to where you can get a little more sunken perspective, and that's where wide body GTRs and things like that, you know, obviously you can get really deep. But as far as the one piece forged, so these are the newest version of the TE37. Anyway, the reason that these finally were able to fit my car, I've looked for years. Now, I probably could have tried to do some type of, you know, there was some variation you could do. You could have changed the hubs, which then you have to change brake rotors. You can get BMW fitments. You could do, you know, there was things out there that obviously could have made this happen. I just don't think that the right crowd was buying Corvettes for a very long time. And then me, I couldn't afford it for many different times. So, you know, and I just didn't want to take the car off the road. So here's what happened. The Honda Civic Type R. So basically the most recent version, well, not the most, currently still the most recent version, the FK8 Civic Type R. You've probably seen it. You probably hate it. Well, basically, you know, 300 horsepower from the factory, still front wheel drive. In a front wheel drive configuration, you want more grip up front. And so in Hondas, you can run more tire up front than the rear to get the car to rotate. And so basically, they were putting 18 by like 9.5s under the FK8, which was a lot even, you know, from the factory at that point, well, as an upgrade from that point. Well, System Motorsports, I think they did the buy-in, and what they wanted to offer was an 18 by 11 up front. And in order to do it, they had to like basically combine this Phase 5 with a particular offset to get it to just work. And then they combine that set. You get two 18x11s up front, and then you get two 18x9.5s in the rear. That's the setup for the FK8 Civic Type R. So I had come across this right when they created these, and I was looking at the offsets. Now the Corvette bolt pattern is 5x120.65, and it basically breaks down that way because in the US system we don't do millimeters, so that's why it comes up with kind of an odd number. Well, Honda, the newer Hondas are 5x120. So if you know about 5 lug is measured between the two lugs, the distance. So that 120.65 would be between the two lugs. So basically you would be looking at a difference, a variation of basically 2/3 of a millimeter. Now that's not very much. And so a lot of people have run 5x120 wheels on the 5x120.65 configuration. The other issue you run into is the hub center. And so the hub center is basically that center bore that exactly locates your wheel onto the hub, and then you cinch them down obviously with tapered lug nuts, and so everything stays exactly centered. Well, if you don't have that hub bore centered in place, you could potentially bolt the wheel slightly off, and that's going to create a bunch of shear loads and things on the lugs, and bad things can happen.
So in doing research, I found that the Volk TE37 that would be supplied for the FK8 would actually come with a larger hub bore center than the FK8 actually used, and that hub bore center was actually also just slightly larger than the hub bore center on the C5 Corvette. So I knew I could use a small spacer and actually make it work.
Now comes offset. So as you may know, if you followed my channel, I have the 18x11 square setup on this car, and it's a 53 offset. It's plus 53, and with that, with track camber, it's about flush, it's close. These were 37, so that's the configuration the Honda had to have, and that's what they designed. So I knew that I wanted to do a wide body. So basically, looking at the numbers, I said, well, I can make the bolt pattern work, and I'm going to show you how. I can make the hub bore center work, and I'm going to show you that. So what I have to finally make work is the body, and I'm okay with, I didn't want extremes, because when you bring out that wheel far from where the OEM had designed it, what you're basically increasing is scrub radius, and so that's the design that's the principle of the upper and lower ball joint. There's an axis that goes through the upper and lower ball joint, and then there's basically a center line in your tire, and those converge, and basically that distance is called the scrub radius, and that's the kind of work the car has to do to go around its pivot point. So you don't want to get excessively far from that scrub radius because it affects steering feel, it affects a lot of different things, and so I don't want to go extremely wide personally. What I want to do is I want to add a little shape to the body. I want to add a little bit of flavor, and this is just enough to do it. So that's kind of the approach I'm going to take. And basically this still comes out to be about almost 2 inches out, so it's not a small amount. We're talking about 4 inches of total track width increase, almost. This is going to be significantly wider. It is going to affect the car in a lot of ways, but it's square. So having the square setup, it allows me to basically worry about that later. So so let me show you how this works if you want to fit 5x120 Honda wheels on your Corvette. Alright, so I'm going to pull these off and basically show you how we're going to center them up, because right now they're just on temporarily. I kind of eyeballed it because I was waiting on some parts. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to use to make these good to go. Sub, like, comment, send me an email, call me on the phone. Alright, so we're going to be mega careful. So I can see a little visible sag when I loosen that lug nut. Oh, hopefully that won't fall. Okay, let me show you something. Now trust me, I know somebody's watching this and, oh, this is so simple, bro. I know, man, so I don't know why you're watching the video. Okay, some people don't know, so that's what I'm gonna show. So, Amazon. I'm block my face. This is an inner diameter of 70.1 to an outer diameter of 72.6. So as you can see, pretty thin, not much to them, but we're gonna see if they fit. They're mighty freaking tight. May have to do a little cleanup, or I miscalculated. I don't want to get too much on here because we don't want to. I want to lube up my brake rotor. Put this down, see if it goes on any easier. They fit like an absolute glove. So, and I mean as tight as you can possibly fit them. It was as close to interference fit as possible. So it's definitely going to be the rust here. So just slight tapping. I mean, they definitely fit, and they fit very well. So I mean, you will get an absolute hub-centric spacing that's dead accurate. So, okay, so 3 things. We have offset, which we're handling with the wide body. We've got the hub bore center, which we've handled with these hub-centric ring adapters. And now we got the one problem to where the lug pattern, the bolt pattern, is slightly off. And so I'm going to show you this up close. Let me grab this. Okay, so this is what you need if you're going to do this. You're like, okay, it's a lug nut. No, it's a special lug nut. So if I show it to you from the other direction, I gotta block my face because the camera is looking for me. You can see that it has what appears to be a wobble to that conical seat. That conical seat has a wobble to it, as you can see, and it's about 1.5 millimeters of variation. So what this allows is this seat to move and take up that excess little distance. So the key is the wheel is being centered by the hub-centric adapter. It's dead center. There's no question about that. So what that's going to cause is those lugs to be just ever so slightly off. And we're not talking about a lot. We're talking about 0.65 millimeters basically between the two. So if you kind of cut it in half, it's very, very little. So this is basically going to allow good solid thread engagement on the stud, but then the seat will just move over that little bit that it needs to seat real firmly. So you're going to get a good like contact. So I got these on eBay. So you're talking Amazon, eBay. So not hard to find. I'm going to test these, make sure we got the right thread pitch. Yes we did. So that's that. We're going to throw these on and we're going to cinch it down. Okay, so you can see it is not taking up much space, but it is there. So let's see how we can tell how much off center, and I'm trying to get dead center to these. And now obviously there's a little bit of spin. Let me cinch a few down and we're going to try to identify this 0.65. I'm going to try and look dead at these. And you can definitely, it's there. I mean, so, you know, undoubtedly it's a measurement. So, you know, these are just ever so slightly out of place compared to the wheel itself. But these are Honda wheels on a Corvette. So you can see through the spacer inside and through these wobbles. And maybe we can even tell. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the lug nut, you can see how the seat has shifted just ever so slightly. It's very hard to see, but yeah, you can see this one. But these should be good to go. I mean, you're not going to have any issues here because these are your clamping force. This is pulling in tension, is pulling the wheel to the hub. And then this is the centering mechanism. So there's no way. We've got these dead center, and then these are our clamping forces, and we've got good solid seat contact with the conical bases, and we've got good thread engagement with the lug itself. So these are not going to move. There's no risk here whatsoever. So this is the crappiest video you've ever seen, I understand. And I just wanted to let everyone know this is how you do it. So basically, I'm going to get these off of here. We're going to get into the next video, but that's it. Civic wheels on a Corvette. Yes, it's happened. I was into building Hondas for 11, 12 years. That's what I did professionally from probably 99 till 2010 maybe. Was almost primarily all Honda. And everybody hates it, and it's horrible, I know. But my following Honda has led me to the wheels that I wanted on a Corvette. So I guess I thank Honda. I don't really know. But yes, we've got them on the car. They fit. They're perfect. I can go 150 with these. I don't have any worries about that. So now we need the body, and that's what's going to come next. please sub, guys, because these videos, oh boy, they wear me down. So that's about it. Shout out to Cole McBeans. What's up, buddy? So that's about it. Catch you on the next one.